Ever since I was a kid, Pokemon Yellow has always been a fan favorite game of mine. I always used to wonder what would happen if Ash was to ever win the Kanto League. Now obviously in the anime, Ash did take a loss due to Richie and his Charizard not listening to him when fighting a Butterfree. However, this is going to be a very different path, as in today's Nuzlocke we are going to be doing a Pokemon Yellow Nuzlocke Ash only team. That means any fainted Pokemon we find must be permanently boxed if they faint. Only the first encounter of an Ash Ketchum team can be caught. Battle style must be set to set. All Pokemon must be given a nickname. Only held items can be used while in battle. And no overleveling the next gym leader's highest level Pokemon. While traveling the Kanto League, Ash did catch a total of 12 Pokemon. However, if you really think about it, he had 30 because Tauros just kept running into them as he threw his Pokeballs. Anyways, enough of that. In the Kanto League, we are going to be starting off by naming ourselves Ash. Why? Because this is his story on what would happen if he was just a little wiser and a little older and understood everything it was on how to become a true Pokemon master. First, we start off by naming ourselves Ash because we're sticking to the anime lore of Pokemon Yellow. And after we name ourselves, we're going to have to go ahead and name our rival. Obviously, we're going to go with Gary because why not? He was Ash's biggest competition when it came to this game. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and check our computer and see that, hey, we have a lot of work to do before we head out by grabbing a potion. Apparently, I had a potion in there without ever having a Pokemon. Anyways, onto the grass we go and we find Pikachu. However, we didn't actually catch Pikachu as Professor Oak did. Professor Oak then takes us back to his lab and who do we find? Gary, our known rival. We go to go get the Pokemon, but Gary pushes us out of the way. Hey man, what are you doing? After doing that, Professor Oak says, you know what? We gotta go ahead and give you your Pikachu now. After that, me and Gary decide to have a battle, which I'm able to go ahead and take out Gary in about 3 Thunder Shocks, taking our way for our first rival match. After that, we go ahead and find our first encounter, which is going to be a Pidgey. Unfortunately, we missed the first Pokeball, but we are able to catch it in just 2. Then we quickly move on to the next encounter, which is going to be a Rattata, which we are able to get low enough, which I was very scared because I thought I was going to knock it out. But apparently, we were good enough to keep it alive. We then throw the Pokeball and we are able to catch ourselves our own Rattata. Now do keep in mind, Ash did have Eradicate when he did trade away his Butterfree for the Eradicate. That's why we were able to go ahead and catch a Rattata, as that does count as Ash's Pokemon at one point. Then we move on over to the next route where we find ourselves a wild Mankey. Now Mankey is going to be huge, especially for the first gym, because we really need someone that can deal with Brock. So we're going to go ahead and hit Mankey with 1 Thunder Shock and then catch it in 2 Pokeballs. After catching Mankey, we quickly go take on Gary. Now this fight is usually optional, but I really like fighting Gary in the beginning. So we send out a Rattata, he sends out a Spearow, and we're able to take out his Spearow in 2 tackles. Then he sends out his Eevee. However, I don't want to risk losing my Rattata, so I send out my Mankey and I low kick his Eevee and take home the second win. Obviously, Gary, you are no challenge for me, but you keep talking trash. Anyways, let's keep moving on. After defeating Gary, I realized it's time for us to go to the Viridian Forest and capture our next encounter. This will be our 5th one, and we quickly run into a Caterpie. Now Caterpie, I was so nervous because we almost one-shot him with 1 Thunder Shock, but luckily we were able to keep him alive and capture him. And in just a few quick levels later, we were able to evolve not only our Caterpie to a Metapod, but also our Metapod into a Butterfree. This is going to be very useful for the next upcoming matches, and I'm so proud to have him on the team. Going into our first gym battle, I was pretty confident knowing I had a Mankey that is super effective against Brock's rock Pokemon. I first set on my Mankey, I'm low kicking his Geodude. After that, I take Geodude out in 2 low kicks. Then he sends out his Onix, and I'm able to bring his Onix all the way down to 1 HP with low kick. However, I have to quickly switch out because Abide. I bring out my Rattata and I instantly get off a quick attack and we take the first gym. Honestly, Brock is always so easy when it comes to these Nuzlocks. After defeating Brock, we quickly head over to Mount Moon. During Mount Moon's exit, we run into Jesse and James. Jessie and Jane sends out an Ekans and I send out my Butterfree. I hit Ekans a few times with confusion and knock it out. We quickly level up and we learn Sleep Powder. They then send out Meowth and once again I knock it out with a quick Confusions. After dealing with Meowth, here comes Coughing, and yes, as you guessed it, we knock it out again with a quick Confusions. Jessie and Jane's blasts off again. After beating Jessie and Jane's, we get to Cerulean City, where we are able to go ahead and evolve our Pidgey into a Pidgeotto. Then after that, the world really starts to open up for us for Pokemon, as we are able to go ahead and grab ourselves a Bulbasaur, but first we have to do a little potion glitch. By constantly just giving Pikachu a potion at full health, he will eventually love us even more than he already does because we're such an awesome trainer. The lady then says, hey, you seem like a good trainer. Here, have this Bulbasaur. Alright, cool. We then go ahead and train our Bulbasaur and get it up to speed. And after that, we go ahead and take on Gary. This is going to be our third fight with Gary. And honestly, I'm not too worried as Gary has been quite simple. Gary starts off with a Spearow and I start off with my Pikachu. Being able to just Thunder Shock it in 2 hits, we are able to take it down. He then sends out Sandshrew, so I send out Bulbasaur. We do take it down with 1 Vine Whip all the way to 1 HP, but unfortunately, due to all the sand attacks it hit us with, we were almost forced to lose Bulbasaur, so I switched out into our Pidgeotto. I then attack with Quick Attack, and we are able to take it down after 2 hits. Then he sends out his Rattata, and honestly, we take that down in 2 hits as well. He then sends out Eevee, and we bring in our Mankey, and we're able to take it down in 2 Karate Chops. And there we go. Gary is done. Defeating Gary for the 3rd time, I realized it's time to go ahead and expand our party. So I go through the Nugget Road, that way we can go ahead and advance to not only meet Bill, but also grab ourselves a Charmander. But however, we need to remove 1 Pokemon from our party first. So after we do that, we make our way to the guy who's supposed to be Damien. And he's like, hey, I can't really take care of this Charmander. I'm not raising it correctly. So he goes ahead and gives us a free Charmander. Then after that, we go ahead and quickly evolve him. Now, this is good because Charmander is one of the only starters in this game that actually evolved to his 3rd form from Ash's party team. So this is going to be a very big help. After the evolution, we then make our way to Bill's house. And honestly, Pikachu is awestruck. He sees a Pokemon then transform into a human and he's like, what is going on? Honestly, I don't blame you, little guy. But to keep his mind off things, we have to go ahead and train, and we get our Rattata to evolve into a Raticate. After evolving our Rattata and Eradicate, I say it's time to go ahead and take on the 2nd gym leader, Misty. Now, because this is Pokemon Yellow, this is going to be an easy match as we go ahead and send out our Pikachu and get a crit on the first Thunder Shock. Starmie outspeeds us for Harden, so we go ahead and use Thunder Wave, and then we just take it out in a couple of Thunder Shocks. Honestly, Misty, I'm sorry, but you never stood a chance against our mighty Pikachu. After that, we go ahead and board the SSN, where we are able to run into Gary for the 4th battle. Now, honestly, Gary, you keep coming at me, and we're just going to hit you with 1 Thunder Shock and crit you. That's right. Then he sends out his Rattata, and we're going to hit it with about 2 Thunder Shocks to take it down. After Rattata goes down, he sends out his Sandshrew, and I send out my Bulbasaur. I go ahead and hit it with 1 Vine Whip, and there goes the Sandshrew. Now, here comes his faithful Eevee, and honestly, 1 Eradicate Hyper Fang is more than enough to take it down. See ya, Gary. And you thought I was smelling you later. Nah. That's your job. To Gary's embarrassing defeat, we run into the captain who is literally throwing up over a trash can. But you know what? We give him 1 back rub and bam, it works. And we have the HM cut. We can now take on Lieutenant Surge. Going into this match against Lieutenant Surge, you would think I would not have an answer for his level 28 Raichu. But then again, I have Charmeleon who knows the move Dig. Dig is able to take out Raichu in just 2 hits, and that goes Lieutenant Surge. Man, how time is flying in Yellow. After defeating Lieutenant Surge, we go ahead and grab our next encounter, which is a Squirtle from Officer Jenny. Then we train up a little bit and head over to Lavender Town, where we run into Gary. Gary then says, hey, your Pokemon isn't dead, but I can make them faint, which is weird because he doesn't have Eradicate anymore. So we go ahead and take down his Pharaoh 1 Thunderbolt from Pikachu, and then we take it down his Shelter with another Thunderbolt. He sends out his new Vulpix, which we are able to go ahead and wipe out with about 2 Water Guns from our very own Squirtle. He then sends out Sandshrew, and we're able to take that down with 1 Water Gun. After that, he sends out Eevee, and I send out my Pidgeotto. We are able to hit it with 2 Gust Attack, and realizing that we cannot kill, we go ahead and hit it with 2 Quick Attacks to take it out for good. There goes Gary, and honestly, I feel bad because I feel like maybe we took away his Raticate from him. Sorry, man. After our deepest condolences, we do go ahead and evolve our Mankey into a Primate. Then we run into the most down bad person in Pokemon? Like, what is this old man doing? Seriously, look at him. He's just staring at the gym. This gym is great. It's full of women. Like, bro, what? Are you spying on them? After casting Master Roshi in the act, we go ahead and take on Erica of the 4th gym badge. Now, Erica proved more troublesome than I thought she would. I send out my Pidgeotto and she sends out Tangela. We hit it with a wing attack, but then we are stuck in a bind. After that, I realized we can't move anymore, so it's time to go ahead and heat up the situation by switching to Charmeleon. Charmeleon then goes ahead and hits with an Ember, and honestly, it does pretty good damage. We then hit it with another Ember and we take down Tangela. Now here comes a Weeping Bell and we hit with one Ember and it's pretty decent damage, but we get a crit on the second Ember and burn. Realizing I don't want to lose Charmeleon, I swap into Pikachu because I know burn would take it out. Pikachu then tanks and we are able to now go against the Gloom. I get off a quick Thunder Wave, which then gets off a Sleep Powder on me. I then send out my Pidgeotto and we just finish it off with a few confusions from Butterfree. Now, honestly, I thought this match was going to be a little easier, but unfortunately it was harder and we almost lost a few Pokemon. Either way, we do advance and we are now on to the next city. However, before that, we do have to go to the secret hideout located in the casino of Celadon City to take down Team Rocket. Jesse and James approach us and honestly, they're nothing but slight work as we're able to knock them out with nothing but Thunderbolts. Down goes Coughing, down goes Meowth, and down goes Ekans, of course. Now that we take care of Team Rocket and send them blasting off, we have to take down the big boy, Giovanni. Giovanni is mad that we have interrupted, so I send out my Charmeleon while he sends out his Onix. I hit with one dig, and we're able to go ahead and kill off with the second one. Now here comes Rhyhorn, so then I send out my Bulbasaur, which I'm able to just go ahead and hit it with one Mega Drain to knock it out. After that, he sends out Persian, which I'm able to get a Poison Powder off on, and then I'm able to go ahead and get a Leech Seed off. After that, I switch over to Pidgeotto, which I'm able to go ahead and just slow down with wing attacks and then followed by a quick attack. Honestly, this was such an easy match. I didn't really expect that Giovanni to put up no effort at all, but then again, when you're a trainer like me, what else can you say? Just built different. After that, we head over to Lavender Town because we now have the Silph Coast, so we are able to go ahead and see Ghastlies. We go ahead and catch our first Ghastly, which will eventually become a Haunter because, you know, in the Pokemon anime, Ash did have a Haunter, but he didn't catch it, but it was still his. Either way, after that, we go ahead and take on Team Rocket again as Jesse and James approach us. And this time they now have an Arbok, so it's a little bit stronger, so we aren't able to just one-shot it, but we still are able to take it out with a few Embers. Then here comes their Weezing, and I'm just gonna go ahead and send out Pikachu that can easily just Thunderbolt in 2 hits. Now our Pikachu does get poisoned, so it's a little worries, but you know, either way, we do take them down, and that's all that matters. Then we are able to go ahead over to Snorlax and wake him up. We are also able to go ahead and catch Snorlax, which is going to be beneficial because Snorlax is a powerhouse when it comes to Pokemon Yellow. After catching Snorlax, we are now able to evolve our Charmeleon to Charizard, but that's not all. Our Pidgeotto also evolves as well. Then we head over to Safari Zone to go ahead and try to catch a Tauros, but unfortunately, we do fail as Tauros is able to just run away, and in the Safari Zone, you cannot attack anything. After our failed attempt at catching Tauros, we take on Koga, the Poison-type gym leader. Koga consists of 3 Venonats and 1 Venomoth. We take on the first one with Wing Attack from Pidgeot. Then the second one gets critted by another Wing Attack. He then sends out his third one, which is higher level, so we decide to use Fly as it has more attack. Then we go ahead and get hit by Psychic, but our Fly does take out his last and final Pokemon, Venomoth. Honestly, that was an easy battle and it's time to go face Sabrina. But before that, we head over to Seaform Island where we can find ourselves a Krabby, which will be useful later on. This Krabby is going to eventually evolve into a Kingler, which would help us with our HMs, especially when going through Victory Road. Now we head over to Saffron City where we're able to go face the Karate Master. He used to be the gym leader in town until Sabrina took over, so he sends out his Hitmonlee and I send out my Snorlax. My Snorlax then hits him with a Body Slam, which is able to paralyze and then hit with a Headbutt. We then swap out Snorlax so we can bring in Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur then hits with a Razor Leaf with crits and is able to give herself the Black Belt. Now we are able to choose which prize we want, but because we have a Primate, there's no need to, so we move on to the Team Rocket hideout. However, before that, we head over to Cinnabar Island where we are able to find ourselves a Grimer. which we can then take over to Silph. And as we're about to evolve him, he does level up, but we get hit by a super effective Bone Club. Are you serious? Then we have to go ahead and release our newly evolved Muck into the wild. However, we are able to evolve our Krabby into a Kingler, and then we are able to bring that Kingler into this fight against Gary at Silph. We then take on Gary and we use Kingler to use Surf. Kingler is able to do double Surf against Sandslash, able to take it out. He then brings in his Ninetales, and guess what? Just like that, we're able to also do another Surf. Now in this time with just 3 Surfs, we are able to take out the Ninetales. Now he does send out his Cloyster, and I send out my Pikachu, and I made the mistake of going for Thunder. Our Thunder missed, and we ever get stuck in Clamp. Now we can't move, but we are able to finish it off with the second Thunder that does hit. Now he does send out his Kadabra, so I switch into my Snorlax where I'm able to hit with 1 Body Slam for 1 hit KO. Then he sends out his last Pokemon, Jolteon, which does good damage with Double Kick, but we are able to 1 hit KO with Earthquake. Man, that was tough. A little thing and we could have messed up real bad. However, after defeating Gary, we do talk to this guy that's over here that works for Silph that gives us a Lapras. Oh man, Water Ice Pokemon is going to be huge for our run. After defeating Gary, we advance to the next room where we run into Team Rocket, Jesse, and James. They send out their Weezing and I send out my Lapras. I switch out Lapras to Snorlax and then I hit Weezing with an Earthquake attack. They then send out their Arbok, who I once again hit with an Earthquake attack. This goes ahead and one-shots, and then they send out their Meowth. I then hit Meowth with an Earthquake attack for a one-shot once again. After that, we run into Giovanni, who seems to be hosting a book club meeting with the Silph leader. Well, either way, it's time to battle him. I send out Lapras and I switch out Lapras so we could bring out Snorlax. He sends out his Nidorino, who hits me with Double Kick, and honestly, what an annoying move as it just takes so long animation wise. We then hit with an Earthquake to go ahead and finish off, and then he sends out his Persian. I once again hit Body Slam, which is able to one-shot Persian, and then he sends out Rhyhorn. I literally had to hit with an Earthquake once and then a Body Slam to take out Rhyhorn. Then I made the mistake of using Sleep Powder twice in a row, forgetting it doesn't affect Nidoqueen. Now scared to lose Butterfree, I switch out and send in Kingler, which I'm able to go ahead and hit with a Surf. It is able to survive one Surf, but it couldn't survive the second. And that is how we take down Giovanni. After rescuing the Silph president from the book club meeting, he then says, "Hey man, I have money, here's a Master Ball." And I'm just like, okay. So we end up leaving, and now it's time to go face off against Sabrina. Now facing Sabrina, one thing you must know is that her first Pokemon, Abra, does not have any attacking moves. So I decided to go with Lapras, that way we could get some level up. And then I just started to Surf. However, this became one of the most longest processes ever, as Flash just kept making us miss. You'll see eventually we are able to kill. After taking down Abra, we then switch out our Lapras into Snorlax. She sends out Kadabra and we hit Kadabra with 1 Body Slam. Then sends out Alakazam, which I'm able to hit with 1 Body Slam, but then realize I have to switch. I switch into Charizard and I went for Flamethrower so we can get the extra damage and finish it off. Then we head over to Cinnabar Island where we take on Blaine, who is the fire type gym leader in the 7th one. He sends out his Ninetales and I send out Lapras. We get hit with a Confuse Way, but we do get off a Surf. Realizing that we're confused, I switch into Squirtle, which he then hits us with another Confuse Way. We get off our first Surf and we're in a good spot, but then we just start getting hit by our own confusion. Realizing I don't want to lose Squirtle, I switch into Snorlax. I get hit with another Confuse Way and then we are hit once again. I again get out of confusion and I'm able to hit with 1 Earthquake. He sends out his Rapping Dash, who growls, and then I'm able to get off a 2 Earthquake attack to take it down. Now while we're trapped inside a Fire Spin, I realize I don't want to lose Snorlax, so I switch out Snorlax into my Charizard. I then go for a couple of digs, which we're able to take it down, luckily thanks to Takedown, which is able to hit with Recoil. Man, that was annoying just based off of Confuse Way. Anyways, time to take on the last and final gym. We fly over to Viridian City where we find out the last gym leader is none other than Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket. This would be our last battle with him as he sends out his Dugtrio. I send out my Lapras where we get hit with Earthquake and critted, but our Lapras is able to knock out with 1 Surf. He then sends out Persian, which we're able to take down in about 1 Surf and 1 Ice Beam. After that, here comes his Nidoqueen, which we're able to take out in 1 Surf. And then he sends out his Nidoking, which once again, 1 Surf is all it takes. Finally, his last Pokemon, Rhydon, which goes down once again in 1 Surf. Man, That was probably one of the easier battles of all our Giovanni fights. Either way, we were able to collect the last badge and it's fine to take on the Elite Four. However, before that, we run into Gary once again right before the Victory Road. So we have to take him down. We send out our Lapras, who we hit a Sand Slash with one Surf attack. After that, he sends out Execute. We switch over to Charizard. One Flamethrower is good enough to take him down though. He then switches in Ninetales and I'm able to just go ahead and hit him with one Dig to take it down. After that, here comes Cloyster, so we switch out into Pikachu. Pikachu then hits with one Thunderbolt and takes it down. Now it comes his Kadabra, which we're able to hit with one Thunderbolt, but it doesn't enough to only recover. We hit it with a Thunder Wave and then with a Thunder. After that, we do get a crit and we finish it off with a Thunderbolt. Finally, here comes his Jolteon, and I opt to go for Bulbasaur so we can give him some experience points. And so I put Jolteon to sleep. After that, I do a Solar Beam, which does not nearly enough to get the kill. Then we hit it with a few Razor Leaves and we are able to take down Jolteon. Man, what an annoying fight, just knowing that it had Pin Missile. Anyways, a Victory World, here we come. Now, we're going against Lorelei, who is the first Elite Four member that covers Ice and Water type. I start off with Pikachu knowing she'll start off with Dugong, and we go for Thunder. Unfortunately, it doesn't do enough to knock it out, so we go for a second Thunderbolt. After that, we go for Thunder, and it takes out the Cloyster. Then she sends out her Slowbro, and we fortunately get a crit to knock out the Slowbro. She now sends out her Jinx, and I send out Charizard. We get hit with an Ice Punch that does a ton of damage, so we go for Flamethrower hoping it would kill. It doesn't. However, she misses her second Ice Punch and we're able to finish it off. Then she sends out her Lapras and I do the same. I get hit with Paralysis instantly and then I'm able to Confuse Ray. Then we just take care of it with a couple of Thunderbolts and a couple of Confusions. And we're good to go. And that's how we took on Lorelei. On to the next one. Now we're going against Bruno, who is the second of the Elite Four, and he goes with Fighting and Rock types. So he's like a stronger Brock. However, we're going to start off with a Squirtle and we're going to hit Onix with a Surf attack. This is enough to do one hit KO. Hitmonchan comes out and once again we do one Surf attack and it takes it out. His Hitmonlee then uses X defense and we are able to crit with a Surf. Then we just Surf once again on the Onix. Finally, he brings out Machamp, who we Surf, but it's not enough to kill, and he does a nasty Karate Chop that's crits on us. So we're scared to get knocked out, so I switch over to Charizard and he does Submission, and I'm able to take it out with a Flamethrower. Finally, we are down of the Elite Four onto number 3. The third one is called Agatha, and she's obsessed with Professor Oak and apparently is mad that he won't commit to her because he's committed to Pokemon instead. So instead, we're going to have to take her down. So now we start off with our Charizard while she starts off with Gengar. We do get paralyzed, but in a couple of digs, we are able to go ahead and take out Gengar. Then here comes Golbat. We get confused, but we end up beating Confusing and then are able to take out Golbat in a couple of Flamethrowers. Finally, Haunter comes in and once again, the paralysis is saving us because we can't be put to sleep and we're able to take out Haunter with one dig. Arbok comes in and once again, we can't be poisoned, so we take it out in one critical hit dig. Finally, her last Gengar comes in and we're able to just take it out in 2 digs. And that is all. Agatha, I'm sorry that Professor Oak won't commit, but honestly, you do use poison Pokemon and Ghost. That's kind of scary. Finally, we are on the last member of the Elite Four, Lance, the Dragon type trainer. Fortunately for us, we do have good type coverage as we start off with our Pikachu, who's able to Thunderbolt Gyarados in one hit. Then comes Dragonair, so we put it to Thunder Wave to slow it down, and we switch into Squirtle. Unfortunately, we get Thunder Wave ourselves, but we are able to take out Dragonair in 2 Ice Beams. Then we get wrapped up in a conversation with the second Dragonair, and then we honestly get hit by Hyper Beam, which puts it on a recharge, so we're able to switch into Lapras for a free Ice Beam that one-shots. Then Aerodactyl comes out, and we're able to take that out also with 1 Ice Beam. Finally, his Dragonade comes out, and you guessed it, it goes down to 1 Ice Beam. Honestly, Lance, you should reconsider being a Dragon type trainer. A lot of weakness. Finally, we became the Pokemon Master, or else we would have, but Gary beat us to it. So now we have to take him on for the crown. We go ahead and use Surf with Squirtle as he sends out his Sand Slash, and we're able to finish it off with a second Surf. Then he sends out Alakazam, and I know we can't kill, so I bring in Lapras. However, after a lot of time going back and forth of recovers and missing from Flash, I realize there's only one thing left to do. To return Lapras and switch into our Snorlax. Snorlax is able to tank the Side Beam and then we're able to knock it out with 1 Body Slam. Executed then comes in, and realizing that I wanted to try to rest up so I can have some more HP for later, we get hit with a stomp, and then I'll get hit with another stomp that critical hits us. We finally wake up. I bring in Charizard and we're able to survive a stomp and then hit it with 2 flamethrowers. Finally, he brings out Cloyster and he hits us with a spike cannon on our Pikachu. However, we're able to survive it just barely, and we're able to one-shot with 1 Thunder. Whew, that was close. Now he brings in Ninetales and I try to use Thunder Wave, however we get hit with Quick Attack. So then we go with Hydro Pump and I miss, but my second Hydro Pump does hit, and then we're able to finish it off with the last Surf. Now we bring in Bulbasaur, but unfortunately Jolteon read me with a Pin Missile. Unable to put it to sleep, we lose not only our Pikachu, but we also lost our Bulbasaur this round. I however switch into Snorlax and I'm able to put myself to sleep with rest, that way we can save up, and then I hit with Earthquake. It doesn't go down from the first one, but we get hit with Paralysis, but it doesn't matter as we hit the second Earthquake. And that is how we became the Pokemon champion. If you guys are new to the channel, do not forget to go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe, as it does help me grow and I would really appreciate it. And honestly, this one was really fun, as it really felt good to use a team of Ash and realize only starter Pokemon that hasn't evolved can still do a lot of work. Thank you all for tuning in. See ya.